Well, I think this recording is going to be pretty graphic, and it's okay. I've been going to Ramatipidi for skin cancer. I've had about 3 operations on the top of my head. That's why I have my hat on right now. So if anybody's very squeamish, take them out of the place where you won't see this video. So I want to warn you, it might be a bit graphic. I just want to talk about this hospital that's got 800 doctors working there. It's really an amazing hospital. I've been so satisfied with the care there. It's been actually wonderful. And I'll tell you what even makes you feel better. After they look at you and you go through all the procedures, the one thing you have to be prepared for is not to bitch. You can't bitch about waiting because there's thousands of people at this hospital. Even when you arrive at 6 o'clock in the morning, there's already queues. Now I know that turns a lot of foreigners off, but the level of care there is, they have a second tier of service for not the indigent people, Thai people that are operating on a welfare card or a medical card. They only pay 30 baht or something like that. But when you go in, if you want a second tier of service, you can get it. And of course, I've been to their skin clinic. It's excellent. The doctors are excellent. And this is the one hospital in Thailand that does something called a Mohs operation, or they call it a mole operation. The other hospitals won't do it because it's so time consuming. So basically they operate on you for skin cancer, and they remove the cancer and then send out for pathology. And because this hospital is so big and so crowded and there's so many people there, you have to wait 2 hours. It's not uncommon during an operation to wait 6 hours while they're doing the operation. It's a very slow operation. So many times I've started at 6 o'clock in the morning. Now there are 2 types of skin cancer, and the best one you can get, let's put it that way, is beta cell carcinoma, which is, it doesn't migrate and it's very slow. So you have all the world and the time to treat it and cut it out and so forth. So I've had a huge one on the top of my head, and they did like a Nazi sign, looked like a Schwarz sticker cut on the top of my head, and then bend the flaps of skin back. And it was done under injection. I must have given me about 25 to 29 needles for localized anesthesia. And I think they use xylocaine, the same thing that chiefly dentists use in their office. So they constantly are giving you little jabs of this. And I can't say they don't hurt, but my pain threshold, I learned, being alone and not having a family, that you have to have a large pain threshold. And you don't have anybody that's going to sympathize with you. You just have to learn how to take it. There was a time when I was a little kid, just getting a shot in the ass was enough. And I fared it like, we had this wonderful doctor. He looked like Bat Masterson from television. He was so handsome. Even as a kid, I noticed how handsome the doctor was. He would make house calls, because my father's a doctor, and he'd come over as a professional courtesy, drive over with his bag. And when my mother was always worried about us through our childhood diseases, she called Dr. Rosenblatt. And he was a wonderful guy, and he looked like, you can look it up on YouTube, Bat Masterson, who's Western feeling. Let me tell you that you have to get up 4 or 5 in the morning for where I live to get to this hospital. It's not very far away, but the traffic is after 7 o'clock on Changwadna, and even on the highway is insurmountable. It takes an enormous amount of time. So I leave the house about 5:30 in the morning, get there at 6 o'clock. When you arrive, there's already hundreds of people in queues. Okay, and the weird part about the hospital is that after you have an operation, whatever they use, the anesthetic or the bandages to close up the room, the suturing material, you have to get on a line, a queue, and get through just to rebuy that back. So you buy it with your money and then you bring it back up to that portion of the hospital to pay them back, to give them the bandages you use and everything. So they make a list as they're operating on you for whatever necessary drugs or plaster or whatever they put on you. So you go and get in a line on another floor to recover that material and bring it back to them, turn it back into the surgical department. Then they'll give you your final bill, and your final bill, you get online with hundreds of people, and your name's on a big, like 50-inch monitor, and it'll come down. Eventually it shows, and then you can get online to go to the cashier and pay for your bill. But if I go to a private hospital in Bangkok, like Smitty Way, and one of the finest ones, the one that's touted for most medical travel, people come from all over the world to have a breast operation and a lot of cosmetic augmentation. They'll come here to Bangkok because it's very, very inexpensive, even at a private hospital here. So compared to American prices, this place is a bargain no matter what hospital you go to. But when you go to a government hospital, oh man, it's just amazing. So this operation that I just had on the top of my head would cost me at a private hospital about $185,000, and they would do a skin graft. But this hospital does a Mohs operation, so they send out about 8 biopsies. So what they do is they look for a margin between normal cells and cancer cells. And this is the gold standard for having skin cancer.